If you ever feel like an energetic emotional tuning fork for the rest of the world, if you are highly sensitive, if you're psychic, if you are neurodivergent, this video is for you because, as you probably know, your ability to read the vibe is such a superpower, but it's also such a double edged sword because it makes it really hard sometimes to connect with people who maybe don't get what's happening or who have different abilities. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that and show you EFT tapping to figure out how to use our superpowers for good, to set some energetic boundaries so that we can almost have like a dimmer switch on how much we're choosing to pick up on at any given moment. And even sometimes in conversations with our partner or a friend, to figure out how to self regulate, even if they're having the experience that they're having. We're almost doing the processing for two at those moments. And it's way better for any conversation to be able to let go and like let them be them and do their part. So, the first thing that I've noticed having this superpower is, and I hate to say it, but it's true. Sometimes we are wrong. Sometimes maybe we're not necessarily wrong, but we're picking up on interference from like the neighbor's house, or sometimes what we think is purely our partner's feelings is actually kind of mixed in with our feelings. And so even though most of the time we're right, and some of the time it's that we are on the right track, but maybe our partner isn't ready to hear it yet, which I can completely relate to from the other side. Like sometimes he tells me things and I'm like, what? That's not me. So the first thing that kind of gets in the way is that yes, we have this superpower, but just like with any magic, we need to leave room for kind of suspending our disbelief or having doubt. And this also, like, I don't know if you relate to this, but I know in 2020, when I was doing way too many private calls with couples. And so if you're watching this and I saw you in 2020, I am so sorry for being really burned out. Back then, it was a time when, as you can imagine, a lot of couples needed support because they were facing challenges that people really haven't faced before. And they were really forced to confront everything in such a, big way. But anyway, sometimes I would be walking with my partner. We would just be like going to dinner or whatever, and we would get into this conversation or conflict. And halfway through, I would be like, oh my God, this isn't our fight. This is like I was still carrying the dynamic from my 2 o'clock couple or whatever, and I hadn't fully processed it. And so I was kind of almost like screen projecting it onto our conversation and like co-creating it. And so that's actually part of what can happen if you are an energetic sponge and you're picking up on all of these dynamics and feelings throughout the day. Sometimes you don't know whose is whose. And so the very first thing that I would say is to be, really aware, really trust what you're feeling, but also know that like it might not be what it seems. So that's my first point. Next, I want to talk about the sort of assumptions that we make because we do this really well. We can pick up on vibes really well. And a lot of the time, we assume that other people have the same superpower. And so we might be in a relationship where, like, it's so clear to us what's happening, and we don't understand why our partner isn't picking up on our situation. And we have to actually say it when, on the other hand, we would be able to read and translate and kind of accommodate behind the scenes. We can't expect our partners to do that. And side note, we probably don't need to be doing that either. We can be making all of this stuff even more explicit, again, because sometimes we're wrong, and sometimes it's not about us accommodating so that the energy gets better. And I'm going to talk about that actually in my third point. But the other thing that makes this superpower challenging is realizing the bridge between people who have the superpower and people who have other abilities, and people who actually can shut off the like broadcasting and picking up the vibes in the house. And so that's something to be aware of too, that like just because you can do it, and even if you don't always want to be doing it, the people around you are operating on such different like levels of frequency. They can kind of put themselves in more of a bubble. And that's actually the third thing that I want to talk about before we go into the tapping. We can actually borrow from the playbook of the neurotypicals or the non-psychics or whatever you want to call moderately sensitive people, right? And this is something that it's actually been a challenge for the relationship, because it's been a challenge for me personally, to be totally honest with you. Like, I would love to be able to have more house guests over, spending nights and nights and nights with us, and me being able to like walk about the house without feeling like I have to be super conscious of like, okay, your guests are fine. Like, you can do your thing. You don't have to be like, oh, I wonder if they want coffee. I wonder if blah, blah, blah. Like, you don't have to be picking up on all of the moods. You don't have to be on all the time. And conversely too, like when people are over, this is something that I'm really glad that I learned. Like, I can take alone time if I need it. Like, yes, they might be visiting, but like I can go on a 15-minute walk, or I can recharge, and I can even tell them, hey, I'm going to take some alone time and then I'll see you for dinner. There's ways that we can kind of lean into letting our freak flag fly, because these things are challenging and other people don't necessarily understand. Like, there's a lot of advocating that I need to do even with my partner, because he can go from whatever, like 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. the same day, like running around with people doing a ton of different activities, and, you know, never feel the burnout. And it might not make sense to him why after like a really fun trip, I still might need some recharge time. And so that's the other way that this can kind of get tricky in relationships, is you need what you need, they need what they need. And sometimes when you explain it, they may or may not have a felt experience of it. And that can be really, obviously it can be really hard when somebody doesn't understand you. And sometimes you might even feel the need to like prove that you are, or not that way, like that you can hang with the like neurotypicals who can do whatever they can do, and then you feel the consequences for like days later. And sort of related to this is, even if it's not other people in the house, when my partner is in a tough mood for whatever reason, like not even necessarily because of me, but sometimes because of me, it was so hard to just let him be in a bad mood, because when you're picking up on everything, it's hard to exist when there's a problem, you know? And that, of course, as you can imagine, it made our conflicts really tough, because he needs to be able to be in a bad mood. He needs to be able to be mad at me. And he needs to know that I'm not going to collapse and like not be able to sleep and feel like he's got to change in order for me to be okay. Tapping really helped me tolerate that, like, there's somebody in the house that I really care about who's in a bad mood, who's mad at me, and I can do some things, but I don't need to do everything. And there's almost this way that, like, I think I have the opposite of body doubling, where if somebody else is in the house, sometimes, or somebody else is in the room, sometimes it's actually harder for me to concentrate on what I need or want to do, because I'm like, wait, somebody's here. Like, there's so much stuff coming at me. And like, yeah, I've definitely used tapping to be able to chill and let them be them, let me be me. Sometimes I've literally used the mantra in my head that they are over there and I am over here. And ironically, having that sense of separation has helped me be able to connect with them even more. So I wanted to offer that to you in case it's helpful for you too. So those are the main things that I've seen being extra perceptive, extra sensitive, like how it's affected me and how it's affected my relationships, my friendships. And so now I'm going to show you how to use EFT tapping to really celebrate the superpower, but also be able to turn it up and down at our heart's content. So if you're ready, all you need to do is repeat the phrases after me, tap where I tap, and feel what you feel. Okay, let's go. I am so sensitive. I am so sensitive. Some might say that I'm too sensitive. And maybe they're right. But maybe they're just jealous. Or maybe they don't like being told exactly how they feel at all times. Weirdos. But the fact remains, I am sensitive. I feel like the princess and the pea with emotions. If someone's having a bad day down the street, my body is like, stop everything. This is an emergency. And I love that I have a pulse on the neighborhood. But sometimes I wish I could just turn it down. Sometimes I wish I could turn it off. Because when I feel everything so intensely, I end up needing a ton of recharge time. I am the definition of go big and then go home for a week. And sometimes I get jealous. That other people can go to a cocktail party or a baseball game or whatever and say hi to people, connect with people, and then just go about their day. Without needing 3 full business days to recalibrate. Sounds fake, but okay. Even though I'm so sensitive, I choose to love, accept, and forgive myself. Even though being sensitive has sometimes been a problem, I choose to love, accept, and forgive myself. Okay. So let's stop there, take a deep breath in, and let it go. Awesome. And now we're going to continue with the full tapping. Again, keep repeating after me and tap where I tap. We're going to do a few different points on the body. And we're going to move through this. I am an emotional tuning fork. And you would think that would make me really connected with people. Because I can basically give them a full diagram of what they're experiencing. Based purely on vibes. But a lot of the time I feel distant from people. I've maybe been told I'm too intense. Or that I'm taking it too personally. Or you're still worried about that? Just get over it. Like, they're not even thinking about you. I've been told I need to take it down a notch. And even if people are threatened by my powers, the truth is, I really want to connect with people. And there's a part of them that is right. Because I would also love to take it down a notch. I would love to be able to stand up straight and hold on to myself in a conflict. I would love to be able to walk by a neighbor and get in an awkward conversation. And then not feel like I've ruined their life for like the next 2 hours. And I would love to have people over and go to co-working spaces and cafes. And focus on the thing that I want to do. Because that's the way to make people feel the most comfortable. Is when I'm comfortable. But that is so hard for me to do. Because this superpower has been really helpful for me. Maybe at times when I felt really alienated, it was a way for me to feel close to people. Without actually needing to talk to them. Or maybe it was a survival strategy. because so many people really didn't get me when I was growing up, or even now. I had to develop ESP to predict who might be safe. But now I have so many adjunct superpowers. They're all in my go-go gadget tool belt. Now I can communicate with people when I have a feeling or a doubt or a question. Now I can have my own back if somebody is committed to misunderstanding me. And now I can visualize energetic boundaries so that I can still have people in my space without feeling on guard. I can let them be over there, even if over there is 2 feet from me. And I can say, hey, I'm going to take a walk, BRB. And I can feel my heartbeat and feel some of the feelings that I'm picking up on. And resist the urge to fix or react. Or somehow twist myself into a pretzel to make them feel better. So it's not even just about trusting myself. This is also about trusting other people. Which maybe has not been my strong suit for a good reason. But even though these boundaries are hard for me, I choose to love, accept, and forgive myself. And this is something I'm willing to keep trying. Because it will help people see the real me. And it'll also help me see the real them. I'm so excited to connect with people IRL and not just in my psychic field. And even though it's taken me a minute, I'm ready to use my sensitivity as my superpower. Okay, let's stop there. And again, take a deep breath and let it go. So that was tapping. That was just an example of something that I might use if I was facing those issues. And when I do tappings on YouTube, it's usually semi-autobiographical and semi-based on the clients that I've worked with. And so you never know which one it is. But yeah, a lot of these themes, I assume if I'm feeling it, then other people are feeling it. And of course, if I've seen that many other people are feeling it, it's going to make its way in there. But if you want to use tapping, you, even just from doing this video, you already know how it goes. You basically want to talk about the problem, talk about what you want to be different, and talk about how much you love, accept, and forgive yourself, no matter what part of the process you're in. So I hope that this felt amazing for you. I hope that you have a sense of how to put up these energetic boundaries that actually support connection, that don't cut off the interactions that you're actually really excited to be part of. Let me know in the comments if anything came up for you, and stay tuned because I'm doing a ton of similar tappings, not just about relationship themes, but especially about neurodivergent relationship themes. So I can't wait to see you in the next video. Okay, mwah, bye.